Hey guys, what is up? Welcome back to my channel. Today's video, as you can see in the title, is super different but very fun, and this is how I did my makeup for my wedding day. Okay, so this intro is going to be a little bit longer because I'm going to explain everything to you guys before we get on into it. But before we start, if you guys are new here, hi, I'm Kendra. I post beauty/lifestyle videos and I'd love to have you guys join the family. And also, if you'd like to keep up with me on a day-to-day basis and you're not already, follow my Instagram and my Twitter. I'm pretty active on those. And if you want to see what I'm up to, that's the place to do it. Okay, so before we jump on into this is how I did my makeup for my wedding day. There are quite a few things I don't have anymore, so if you'll hear me talk about substitutions and everything, there are certain reasons why I don't have them. Either they're old or their company's not cruelty-free, and I wasn't cruelty-free at the time. That was right before I went cruelty-free, so I was just getting into some cruelty-free things, but I wasn't fully cruelty-free. Also, the lip and the eyeshadow turned out a little bit different than what it did on the wedding day, and you'll also kind of hear me talk about that later on. Anyways, to kind of give you guys a preface, I will put up some pictures as we go throughout this tutorial in case you're interested to see what actually my wedding pictures look like, or my wedding day, or things like that. I will put up pictures just in case you're interested, and it's fun for me to look back on these things. I curled my hair because that is how my hair was for my wedding day, like these loose curls, like these loose beachy waves, but I also had this really gorgeous, like, I think they were lemon leaves, I can't really remember, like Greek kind of like style headpiece, which I was obsessed with, and I'm sad I don't have anything like that to put on right now for this video. My wedding dress was like $200 from China because my entire wedding was a budget wedding, but it was perfect and I loved it, and I wore like a gold beaded, like, it's hard to tell, it's like right at where my waist was at the dress, I wore this gold beaded, like really thin belts that tied in the back, and it was just everything I wanted. The wedding day was everything I wanted. I mean, we had to have like the wedding and reception at a house, which unfortunately wasn't exactly what I wanted, but it ended up really working out well. Sometimes when you don't have any money, you just gotta do whatever you can. Honestly, the wedding day is more about the memories and the wedding rather than how amazingly perfect everything looks. But it is supposed to be your only wedding. Hopefully it's your only wedding, so I think you should go all out and make it look like exactly the way you want it to, but I also think you need to take into consideration the importance of the day, and the importance of the day is like the union and not everything else. Does that make sense, you know? And there are a lot of things that went wrong that I don't even remember, and then there are a lot of things that went wrong that I do remember, so honestly, the feeling, the vibe, the love, that is way more important than everything else. I can't remember if there's anything else I wanted to say. If you guys have any questions about my wedding day, or if you have any questions about my makeup or anything like that, go ahead and ask them down below. I will respond to everyone. And also I wanted to say, next week I'm going to film how I would do my makeup now if I was getting married, so look forward to that because I'm really excited for that video. I wish I was as good as makeup then as I am now, because this whole makeup look would have been so different if that was the case, but please enjoy this video. I am talking way too much. Let's just go ahead and get right on into it. Okay, so I need bobby pins, actually. I gotta go grab them. I grabbed a clip instead. Okay, so I'm going to kind of be chatty because I feel like I need to tell you about certain things and also explain certain things, but I thought this video would be so fun to film and I'm actually really excited for it. So I'm not even sure if I used primer, because when I got married, it was like really when I started getting into makeup. So like, well, I started getting into makeup like 4 years ago, 4.5 years ago, but I almost got married. It's almost been 3 years since I've gotten married. And I can't remember if I was like full on out into it. Like, I know I wasn't, but I'm not sure if I used primer. But if I did, I know this was the first primer I ever bought. So I'm just going to take this because it's a safe bet, and also it's a good primer, so can't really go wrong there. And I know for a fact I did not use Smashbox setting spray, so I'm not gonna use that. Also, if you see that my eyelids are a little bit stained, it's because I was wearing hot pink eyeshadow yesterday, which I love hot pink eyeshadow, but it did kind of stain my eyelids a little bit. It's a super soft shadow by ColourPop, but as soon as we get into eyes, it'll cover up. Okay, I know for a fact I used the Too Faced Born This Way foundation. One of my good friends, Haley, she's been into makeup for such a long time, probably longer than I ever know, but she recommended this foundation to me when I was asking her like what foundation should I use for when I'm getting married, because I'm pretty sure back then I either used the Maybelline BB cream or the Fit Me foundation, and obviously I'm cruelty free so I don't have those things anymore. But going into my wedding, I was like, Haley, what foundation should I use? Because she knows these things, and she recommended this, and like, I'm so happy she did, because we're 3 years later and I'm still in love with this foundation. It's still like my favorite foundation ever. So I don't even remember the shade I had back then. I know it was not the right shade because I was still getting used to buying makeup and like testing things out, and I didn't realize you could ask for a sample. So anyways, I should put this on while I talk. I also didn't know the like, what am I trying to say? The return policies that you could like return it if it wasn't right. I have this shade right now, Pearl, and it's the closest shade to my current skin shade. Why can't I talk today? Anyways, I'm also 100% positive I had a beauty blender back then, because I think I had just got a beauty blender like earlier that summer, because before I had used a foundation brush and it was good, but it wasn't as good as it should have been. Like, I found myself having a really hard time blending out streaks and whatnot, and here we are today with the beauty blender looking airbrushed. I'm gonna use a little bit more. If you guys have been around my channel for a long time, you know I like lighter coverage or BB cream, stuff like that, but obviously for like an event or like a wedding or something I'm gonna be at all day, I obviously want to look really good all day. So totally down for some full coverage when that's the case, or like medium coverage. Okay, for concealer, I'm 99% sure I was using the, is it Maybelline? It's like the Age Rewind. You like, it has a sponge on top and you twist it. Again, not cruelty free, so I don't have it, and I don't have anything like it, I don't think. So I'm just gonna take my Too Faced Born This Way concealer, the like multi-use sculpting concealer, the super coverage one, and I'm going to use that today. I'm not going to use a bunch because a little does go a long way, but I am going to use enough to make me look flawless, because that's what we want for weddings, you know? Okay, pretty full coverage for my under eye area, the center of my face, which is so different for me, but obviously it looks great because you look great when you're full coverage, especially when it's not cakey. As far as powder goes, I was probably using the Maybelline Fit Me powder. I love how everything's Maybelline. Before I was cruelty free, I did really like Maybelline. I feel like they were probably one of the better companies at the drugstore. Unfortunately, they test on animals though, so nothing good is about that. But I feel like I'm using all things Too Faced. Too Faced was actually one of the first brands I really purchased high-end, so it kind of makes sense, but I'm just going to use my Too Faced Born This Way Ethereal Setting Powder because it is the powder I use most now. One of the first loose powders I bought was the Cover FX loose. Actually, no, it was the Laura Mercier, and then I bought Cover FX, I think. I can't remember. But also Laura Mercier is no longer considered cruelty-free, which is a bummer. Anyways, I'm gonna take this and use it on my under eyes, and I'm going to set my nose down. And then, I know I never do this, but I'm actually gonna use this powder to set my full face, because a day like this where you just want everything to stay in place all day, like loose powder. That's the way it goes for me. I'm just going to take my powder brush and just, I'm not gonna like bake the full face. That's just, my face would literally crack and scream at me because it's as dry as the Sahara Desert. But I am going to set my face with enough powder so that everything locks down. You guys are gonna see how like, I mean, to some people this is still a lot of makeup, but you guys are gonna see how different this is compared to like what I normally do. Like, I know right now you're like, oh, this is all kind of like normal steps, and it totally is. But when you see like my bronzer and highlight and eyeshadow, you're gonna be like, wait, is this the same Kendra? It's wild. Okay, so powder is on, my full face is set. I am going to do my eyebrows. Now I'm pretty sure I used the ABH Brow Wiz back then because it was like the first. Actually, when I first started doing my brows, I started using MAC products, and they're like the only MAC products I ever used. And I can't remember if I was doing the ABH Brow Wiz back then, but I know if it wasn't, it was a MAC brow pencil and then like a MAC paint pot or whatever they're called. I honestly don't remember, but it's like kind of like the dip brow stuff. But anyways, clearly I don't have those anymore. MAC isn't cruelty free, and those are like the only products I ever bought from MAC anyways back then. So I'm gonna use the ABH Brow Wiz, the ABH Brow Powder, just like my normal stuff, the Glossier Boy Brow, and I'll be right back. I'll have my eyes primed so we can jump on into the most simplest eyeshadow ever. Like, you're gonna be blown away. And then let's get on into the rest of the face. So I will be back in just 1 second, and I will have brows on. Brows are on, eyes are primed. Now let's get into this extremely simple makeup look. The only palette I had back then was the Naked 2 palette. That was the very first eyeshadow palette I bought, and I don't even think I had like even any drugstore palettes. Like the only eyeshadow palette I ever had was this. And I remember like doing research into it, and like I did like extensive research to see if I'd like it. And funny story, now it's like probably my least favorite Naked palette, even though it's the only one I really have. Oh my gosh. This pan of eyeshadow just fell out. The Pistol shade just fell out. It's funny because it's like literally all cool tones except for Half Baked, and I just think that's funny because I would never buy this now, like never. But I remember I used to love Lauren Conrad on YouTube. She's that Australian YouTuber. She's like pretty OG YouTuber, I feel like. And she did a makeup look like 3.5 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, of taupe eyes and a berry lip, and that's what I wanted. That is what I wanted for my wedding day. So I just used the shade Tease here. Literally, oh, did I point at the right one? Right here. Literally, I just packed it all over my lid and blended it through the crease. And I use this shade a lot. Like, it is so dug in. I mean, you can see I got a lot of good use out of this. Like, look at this shade right here, Foxy, because I used to set my eye primer with it. Half Baked, Booty Call. Those are my shades. Anyways, I'm just going to place this all over the lid, and as I'm doing this, I'm going to maybe put some pictures on the side. Pictures on the side probably will have been going out through this entire tutorial, but I'll put some up now as well if you are interested. So I'm just starting by packing this all over the lid, and after I'm done packing it, then I'll worry about blending it up into the crease. Back then, I like wasn't ever into, like I was terrified of warm tones. And I feel like it was the beginning of the warm tone trend, like that really started about 3 years ago. Before then, it was all about taupes and like these kinds of shades. So I would never have used a warm toned eyeshadow back then, which is funny because now I never use cool toned eyeshadows. Like this, for instance. But anyways, I have this packed all over the lid. Now I'm going to just take it on a big fluffy blending brush and just sweep it through the crease area. Obviously, my makeup choices were quite unconventional, especially for like a wedding. People usually like to do like a wing, which I can't really do because of how hooded my eyes are. Or like not even a wing, or just like a soft color in the crease and a really light lid. Like, I don't even know how to describe it. Or like a shimmer lid. This eyeshadow palette is so old that like I feel like the formula is definitely lacking, just because I feel like it's just old. It's like past past its expiry date, obviously, because it's 3 years old, and usually eyeshadow palettes expiry dates are like 12 months, 1 year. But I know that you can totally use an eyeshadow palette much longer than that. Like some of my eyeshadow palettes I've had for like 2 years, 2.5 years, and they still work great. But this one, I feel like it's starting to get a little lackluster in the formula department. Like it's getting pretty patchy in certain areas, but I'm trying to blend and make it not look patchy. Now that it looks like I have 2 black eyes, I'm going to sweep a little bit along the lower lash line because I'm pretty sure I did that too. So I'm just taking a little bit and blending it along the lower lash line. All right, and then I'm taking the shade Foxy right here and just gonna highlight my brow bone with that. And that is it for the eyeshadow. That's literally all I did. Okay, next would be bronzer, and I probably use the Benefit Hoola bronzer, which I obviously don't have anymore, and Benefit is not cruelty free, so I'll never have that. But I know for a fact I had that because it was like the first high-end bronzer or face product I ever bought. I think that along with the Too Faced Born This Way foundation. So I'm going to use the Too Faced Chocolate Soleil Medium Deep Matte Bronzer. I've had this one forever. It's been such an amazing bronzer. It's definitely withstand the test of time, but they have like a new compact of it. So this is obviously the old looking compact because this is like 2 years old, I think, or 2.5 years old. Anyways, I am going to bronze up my face. I definitely used it to contour more than bronze, so I'm gonna try and like sculpt a little bit more than just bronze the face. Here's me using the viewfinder as a mirror again because I have to pull back my baby hairs in order to get that hairline for the bronzer. Just going to like blend it out a little bit more, but definitely I did more sculpting than bronzing back then. Like almost never bronzed up the face. I'm more so contoured. Whereas like now it's literally the opposite. Okay, and I probably did not nose contour because I didn't even know that was a thing back then, but I like cannot do my makeup without nose contouring, so I'm just going to drag a little bit of that same Too Faced bronzer down the sides of my nose, especially for a wedding. Like I would have totally, if it were me back then. If it were me back then as I am now, which is not fair to say because this is supposed to be how I did my makeup for my wedding. But it's such a small addition, okay, just let me have it. So for blush, definitely did not use blush because I hated blush back then. I love blush now, like I can't even do my makeup without it. So I probably just took a little bit of bronzer towards the center of my cheeks. So no blush. Anyways, I'm just doing a little bit of extra blending with my powder brush. And for highlight, I hadn't bought back then yet an actual highlighter. So what I did every single day was use the same Naked 2 palette, and I used the shade Booty Call, that's why it's so indented, as my everyday highlighter, and I would usually just use my finger, but for the sake of this video, I'm actually going to use a highlighting brush, and I don't think I've used this shade for a highlighter in at least that's not fair because it hasn't even been 3 years since I got married. In at least 2.5 years, ever since I got an actual highlighter, I have not use this. So let's see, because it's just like a satin shade, like it's not even a highlighter shade. Does that make sense? It's really pretty though, but it's totally different from what I'm used to nowadays. But that's actually a really nice bridal highlight because it's not like in your face. Maybe I did something right. One thing out of my entire makeup routine back then. And I probably didn't add any highlighter to my forehead, but I just did it out of habit, so sorry. But I did add highlighter to my nose because I've always loved a nose highlight along with my cheekbone highlight. Anyways, this highlight obviously isn't very highlighty because it's more of a satin shade, but yeah. Okay, and I'm actually going to grab another taupey shade that I can find to touch up my eyeshadow because my eyeshadow is looking like a little bit of a hot mess. So I'm going to touch that up really fast and then we will move on to the next steps. Okay, so I just tried for like 20 minutes to put on false lashes. I've never actually ever successfully been able to put on false lashes. I'm not a makeup artist and I've never claimed to be. And false lashes are my downfall, so I'm just going to set my face. I know for a fact I had the Rose Water by Mario Badescu, but I don't have that one anymore because I love this one the most. So I'm gonna set my face with this. And I probably also had the Urban Decay All Nighter setting spray, but I don't have that right now. So this will have to do. And I'm going to apply mascara really fast. I don't know if you guys remember, but I used to have eyelash extensions for the longest time. So I had eyelash extensions, like a full set for this day. So that's one of the reasons why I wanted to apply false lashes, but I couldn't figure them out. So I'm just going to apply a bunch of mascara and call it good. And then I'm going to find a lip color, which might take a really long time to find the super similar lip color to what I wore that day. And then I will be right back. Okay, so I put on a lip color. It's a little bit darker than what I had on my wedding day, but I genuinely can't find what I used. It was a ColourPop lippy stick, and I think it was called like LBB or like the Bitchette one or something like that. And I can't find it, and even if I could find it, they're really old, so they should just be trash. What I used is the Jeffree Star Velour Liquid Lipstick in Santa Baby. It was from last year's holiday collection. And the Kylie Cosmetics Lip Liner in Spice. It's too dark, but it's the closest thing I could find. I pulled a few more lipsticks out that might work, which is this ColourPop Matte Liquid Lips, no, not Matte Liquid Lipstick, Matte Luxe Lip in the shade Doing Fine. It's from their fall collection, the fall edit, or the Kylie Cosmetics Spice, but that would have been too dark as well, or the Kylie Cosmetics Brat, but that ends up being a little bit more grungy. What I wore was very like a red berry shade, and I loved it. It was exactly what I wanted as far as color goes, so this will just kind of have to do for now. There's a hair stuck. So yeah, this is like essentially what I wore on my wedding day. Now the eyeshadow I feel like is a little bit darker than what it ended up looking like on my wedding day. And I totally understand that this is like super unconventional. This isn't what anyone else might have done for their wedding day, but it is what I did and it is what I wanted. I did my own makeup and I enjoyed it. It worked really great for my vibe, for my look, for what I was going for. So if you don't like it, I'm sorry, but I thought it'd be interesting to show you guys how I did my makeup. And for me, this is so fun to like think back on those memories. So yeah, Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please let me know by giving it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe down below if you are new here. Join the family. I post beauty/lifestyle videos and I'd love to have you guys here. Also check me out on my social medias if you'd like. Twitter and Instagram I'm very, very active on, so if you want to see what I'm up to on a day-to-day basis, that is the place to do it. But I'm gonna let you guys go. Have a great morning, noon, evening, day, night, whenever it happens to be that you're watching this video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!